Hey everyone, it's been a while. Hope everyone's doing well, and welcome back to the Crystal Domain. Like I said, it's been a while since I've uploaded, and just kind of not really had a lot to say, at least for that period of time. Got caught up in some other things, and you know how life goes. But Yu-Gi-Oh! I feel like has been in an interesting spot in the last few weeks. There's the tins not being great according to most of the people online because the reprints are kind of lackluster and cheap for the most part, right? Because there's so many cards in the set and you're not going to pull what you want. And, that is a problem. And there's the affordability of the game. There's, like, the ban list isn't what we thought. And then, like, the OCG just had this, like, witch hunt of a ban list, where, like, a lot of stuff got hit. And then also a lot of old stuff got taken off to just keep it even and clean across the board. A much better job of just upkeep on the ban list, right? And then so there's going to be like envy between the TCG and the OCG, and we're kind of stuck in the middle here in this alternative format where new cards come out and we don't have to buy like a play set of these expensive cards. We don't have to worry that much because we're already playing older quote unquote bad cards a lot anyways. So a lot of these neat reprints of nostalgic cards from the tins are really cool. And what I wanted to talk about today is kind of a mix of things, right? So we have I feel like the fun of pack opening has been lost. And maybe it's because product no longer comes out together. Like there was a period where OCG product and TCG product came out at the same time, and then after that split, things have been different because now there's CCG exclusive archetypes and there's OCG cards that never see the light of day over here, or when they do, it's significantly later after their initial release time. Stuff like that. And we also now, because they get their stuff ahead of time by a good margin, we just know everything that's coming out. There's all this time to be well aware of upcoming product and all this other stuff. And I know that we can't entirely be immune to seeing stuff coming out because spoiler seasons for card games are nonstop now. Magic does it all the time. Yu-Gi-Oh, for the most part, always has something being announced, and it's impossible to just be ignorant of this information. But I feel like pack opening as a whole, it's changed. And maybe it's because we're not kids anymore, right? Because as a kid, getting a pack was just like a big deal because you didn't really have money, so you needed your parents to buy you a pack or a couple packs, and so it was special when you got those packs. And it was even more special if, like, even luckier, you got like a box of some kind, especially a booster box back in the day, and that stuff was just. I'll never forget the feelings of opening booster boxes for the first time, especially when like getting my first job and like having a little more money to spend because like living at home, not as much expenses, whatever the situation is, and being able to just rip open an entire box of cards that before incomprehensible, and it's special. And I feel like that even for me, if I buy a box now, it doesn't have that same feeling. And maybe it's just like there's a difference of like I don't want to say privilege, but there's a difference of just saturation to it where it used to just be fun and now it's not because you're on a quest. You're looking for a card that will turn over the value of the money you spent. And while it is important to like want to make your money back when you are putting money into something, there is this loss of value in just enjoying the things you get, and it used to just be fun. I don't really know where I want to go with this because it's different for everybody. I can imagine there are still people out there that just love opening packs. I still love to open packs. It doesn't quite feel the same as when I was a kid, but also some of that magic can come back. Over this past weekend, I was on a like small trip to go see my partner's family, and we had a friend of ours in town who was back from out of the country, so we were able to hang out with our friend a lot, and that meant we played a lot of card games. So we played like a lot of Commander, and we also, as I mentioned in the Discord, which if you haven't joined yet, you should, for Domain, I mentioned in there that I played my first multiplayer game this weekend, and we're gonna get into that in a minute. But in that period, while hanging out with our friend and partner's family, we went out, went to Target, and they happened to have Retro Pack, so I bought one. And I what I've liked about Retro Pack is it does kind of rekindle that feeling of when you're opening packs as a kid. Maybe it has to do with like the cards are more akin to how they used to look and not the newer modern design. But also it's just being able to open these nostalgic cards, and they look old and they feel nostalgic, and it's really nice because the quality's nice. And ripping open the packs, and one for each of us, one for my partner, one for our friend, one for her brother, and like we're ripping open the because 4 packs per box, and it's just nice to sit down at the table and we're just like enjoying these old cards, pulling like Lord of D and like the I think it was like the right leg of Exodia, and then like um her brother pulled Time Wizard out of his pack, which is a super rare in Retro Pack 1. And it's such a nice looking card. Like Time Wizard, iconic. It's like this iconic monster from the beginning of the game and everything. And then my partner reaches the end of her pack, and she pulled a Blue Eyes. The ultra rare Blue Eyes from Retro Pack 1. And the card was gorgeous, you know what I mean? Like, it looked so good, and I was just, that feeling, that, like, shock was back from when I was a kid and I managed to pull a big card. And I didn't get that when I opened, like, the latest set. Me and my partner pulled a box of Infinite Forbidden, and we did get really excited when we pulled a QCR. That was very relevant for her wanting to build White Forests. But there's a difference in like, whoa, QCR, and then like the shock of pulling a Blue Eyes. I don't know. It just feels different to me, I guess. Maybe I'm a Yugi boomer, but like it just felt great. And that feeling was even better when it transitioned into the three of us, me, my partner, and our friend, deciding to play a game of Domain. And it was my first multiplayer game of Domain. All my other games were all 1v1s, right? And 1v1 is a whole different experience than multiplayer. And so our friend borrows my partner's like Black Rose plant synchro deck, and then she plays her Charmer deck led by Dark Doriado, and I of course played Crystal Beasts mixed with Yubel, because of course that is my whole identity. And we're playing this game, and like there's just some cards I got to talk about from this game that I was like, what is even going on, right? So like for starters, our friend playing Plant Synchros, he starts pretty strong, right? He opens with the ability to play a Synchro monster, and he drops Queen of Thorns. And, like, this card is kind of insane. It gives you this tax, where for every time you want a normal or special from hand, except for plant monsters, which, like, none of us are playing plants except him, right? We gotta pay 1,000 life points, which, like, in order to spam any kind of spamming, we gotta we gotta pay a life point tax from hand. Luckily, that doesn't count the deck master, and like we were able to get around it. But like the first time this card hit, I was like, this card is crazy. And then, of course, like the sad part was it ended up getting blown up, and he wasn't able to like really recover after that, so he was just kind of out of the game. But like my partner's Charmer deck, for the first time, we had seen like some of the fruits of what it could really do, right? So she plays Awakening of the Possessed God Gigabyte from deck, right? So it does its thing, and on like entry, it rips a card from your hand. And I'm sitting there with like my hand of like I drew like all monsters, right? And then I misplayed early, and I didn't even when I played Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, and then banished it to go get an extra Crystal Beast, but negate its effects. I did not grab the second caveat of the card is that you get a ultimate crystal monster and add it to hand. So the whole time I'm sitting there, and I had misplayed like 3 turns ago, and I did not have Rainbow Dragon in hand, and I'm like, well, crap, I need this card because it triggers some of the spells and like it's kind of important for other things. And so I misplayed and I was like, whatever, I'll just go get it at another point. So it wasn't in hand. I had like a hand though full of just monsters. So it was kind of bricky and I was just trying to work around it by using Crystal Master to just kind of like sift through the deck. But I drew into Samsara D Lotus and I was holding on to it because I didn't want to like drop all this powerful crap and then it get like blown out of me, right? So I was saving myself. I was biding my time. But then I drew into Yubel, like plain Yubel. And then she plays Gigabyte. And of all cards, she rips Yubel out of my hand. And then I had to sit there and rethink the entire situation. Because I'm like, Yubel is kind of what triggers a lot of this stuff. You need regular Yubel for a lot of these other power cards. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, we're kind of screwed. So she rips Yubel out, and then it doesn't stop there. No. She then link plays into Dark the Dark Charmer and takes Yubel from my graveyard to her field. So now I don't even have access to it. I can't blow it up by battle. My hand is full of monsters. I can't remove it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I might lose this game. Because I just have drawn nothing relevant, and she's taken Yubel, which I need for some of these plays. Of course, my turn comes around, I top deck Spirit of Yubel. And I'm like, okay, Battle Trap can't be blown up, we're gonna be okay. So I wait for my partner's turn. She goes to attack into me. I drop Spirit of Yubel. I grab Nightmare Pain with it, which will force her to attack into Yubel, and we're gonna be fine. Because she had this other card. I don't know if y'all have heard of this card. It's wild. Adularia of the June Moon. I think I run it myself in Crystal Beast because the card's a house. It gets power for every face-up spell on the field, which counts everybody. So for her, this card was like 5,800 attack. And then, like, it was just obliterating everything on field, right? And so I drop Spirit of Yubel, and it forces her to attack into that. But then, I'm also able to use Nightmare Pain to blow up a card, and then I search Eternal Favorite. And I'm like, cool. We're gonna get her low, and then on her standby phase, I'm gonna mass super poly everything, and then kill her with burn damage. And then our other friend, he hasn't been able to do anything. I'll be able to easily beat him. And I'm like, cool, we got this. I read Eternal Favorite. It needs Yubel. It does not trigger off of Spirit of Yubel. It needs regular Yubel. And I'm like, well, crap. I still can't do anything. As I mentioned in Discord, though, she wasn't able to really do much either. So when it got back to me, I was able to have exactly 7 Crystal Beasts in Grave. So I dropped out the Deckmaster, I searched an ultimate Crystal Monster with its ability by tributing it, I grabbed Rainbow Dragon, dropped a big old beat stick, and I was able to win by Rainbow Dragon. Which, it felt great. Having everything line up, having the ability to draw these outs and, like, figure out what to do. But, like, this game, it was my first multiplayer game, and there was all these little things where I was like, this is really cool how this works. And it works so differently in 1v1, where you're just, like, at each other's throats. But there's such a difference when there's another player at the table. Let alone, when I get the chance to play with 4 people, like, well, me included, so 3 other opponents, it's going to be, like, a whole other experience. And really, I know I've said a lot, and it just kind of running along and yapping about, like, this game I had, but, like, I wanted to talk about it, because really, what I'm trying to say is Yu-Gi-Oh! Is fun. And I think people could use more of that in the situation right now, where affordability is a problem, and reprints are a problem, and ban lists are a problem, and formats are struggling, and people can't afford the game, and all this stuff, and there is an answer. You know, Card Market talked about alternative formats recently, and they brought up Domain. And I want to say again, this reaches mostly the same people, right? This reaches the people that see my post in the Domain Discord, and maybe it reaches other people occasionally. And for those people that it reaches that have not heard of it before, try and just take a look at domain format. If you're tired of affordability, if you're tired of the reprints being a problem because you need cards to be affordable, so you're waiting on a reprint for however long, and you're tired of these gross, powerful, nearly tier 0 formats, try domain format because, like I said, Yu-Gi-Oh's fun. And it should be. It can be competitive, and Domain is inherently competitive and fun. But Yu-Gi-Oh's fun. And I hadn't been able to say that in a while, you know? And it feels great to be able to say that. And I want other people to be able to also feel that same thing. So if that's for you, if you want Yu-Gi-Oh to be fun, and you have not tried Domain format, please join the Discord, look into the rules and everything, find whatever is going to work for you, and give it a try. It might be everything you needed Yu-Gi-Oh to be, and I hope it is, because we've been able to help so many people find a home for this game, where Yu-Gi-Oh has lost so many people just trying. They want to find something that fits them, and I think Domain is going to be able to do that for so many more people. So, I hope that you got something out of this, and if you did, of course, if you want to support the channel, you can leave a like, you can comment your thoughts down below, and of course, subscribe. It's free. You don't have to do it. Your time watching these videos is more important. But if you want to support it, you can subscribe to the channel. We're nearing 500 subs, which is super cool, and hopefully we reach that, like, in the near future, at whatever point it happens. And thank you for your time and watching this video and just me rambling about how Yu-Gi-Oh's fun. And I got more constructed stuff planned for the future. Hopefully, gonna be getting more involved in games in the Discord and maybe recording some stuff for that. And also some deck profiles to talk more about stuff I build for this format. And a couple other things about just perspective on the game and everything like that. And more constructed stuff is ahead for us. So, as I said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.